Today we're going to be talking about constellations. Now the stars play a really important part in the Harry Potter books. They kind of give us a guide or maybe foreshadowing into what could happen in the future. Firenze is really the character that kind of navigates that, and they spend a fair amount of time laying outside gazing at the stars. You don't see that so much in the movies, but it's definitely in the books. So we're going to start by looking at what is a constellation. What is a constellation? Well, we have a sample right here. A constellation is really just a group of stars that form an imaginary outline or pattern in the sky, such as animals, gods, mythological creature, or a person. Now, why would we want to have a constellation? Well, if we look up in the night sky, and this is a great picture, especially if you're away from a city, you're going to see billions and billions and billions of stars up there. So if you just say, hey, look over there, no one's really going to know which star are you pointing to. But if you can say, hey, let's look at Pegasus, and I'm looking at the star at the end of his nose, right here. Someone's going to be able to know exactly what you're looking at. How did the ancient peoples use the stars? And really, why were they important? Well, one of the ways they used them was in making calendars. So just like when you're driving down the road and your scenery changes, it's the same thing. As we're traveling around the sun, the view of the stars change. And ancient peoples realized this. And they started tracking it. And then they realized, wow, they actually repeat. And that's how they really developed the calendars and idea of moving around the sun. So why did they do this? They started making constellations, and it would help relate their stories or beliefs or mythology. You didn't need any writing instrument. You didn't need a written language, because this was way before that. You could just look up in the stars and you could tell a story. And these stories were handed down generation to generation. Sailors often use the stars for navigation. So when we look up there, even though we're traveling through space super, super fast, and even the stars are traveling, it feels like they're not. So when we look up, this kind of seems like a fixed point. And we could know where we were on Earth by knowing where we were in relation to this star. So as sailors were traveling, they could actually see, oh, okay, if I'm over here in relation to the star, maybe I'm in Europe, and if I'm over here, oh, I'm now closer to the Americas. So they used these stars as their fixed points because there wasn't a tree, there wasn't a mountain. They used the stars as their fixed points to know where they were. As we said before, predicting the future. Now, predicting the future from the stars has been around for thousands of years. We're not exactly sure when it started. We know for sure it was already happening by about 500 BC, which is 2,500 years ago. We know that it was actually already a thing by then. Could it have been happening 20,000 years ago? Sure. We just didn't have it documented until about then. Now, the ancient Greeks. Why are we even talking about the ancient Greeks when we're talking about astronomy? Well, the ancient Greeks were actually the people who named the most common, most well referred to constellations. And why them? Why not Egyptians or other people? Well, Greece was actually one of the most important places in the ancient world. They were thinkers. They were warriors. They were philosophers. They were historians. They were mathematicians. They were really kind of revolutionary. They developed this idea of democracy, new ideas of what is art, religion, and science. And in so doing, astronomy really came to being. The 12 Olympian gods. So up above is their Greek name, and down below is going to be their Roman name. Now, again, why are we even talking about these Olympian gods? Since the Greeks were really the ones who made these first, most commonly used constellations, a lot of them have to do with their mythology. And Zeus and Hera, Poseidon, Hestia, Athena, a lot of these live, or stories about them, up in the constellations, and we can see them live on forever at night. We're going to read one about Diana, or Artemis, shortly. Now, this is a map of the night sky. And really that's what constellations are. They kind of help us provide a roadmap to that night sky so you know where you are and where you're not. Now, Draco is actually up in that night sky. Is it our Harry Potter Draco? No, it's not. But we have a Draco constellation right here. And up in the night sky, though, Draco is actually a dragon. So this is going to be the dragon's head, and this is his body. Oops. We have a few other really famous people up here that you may or may not know. Now, let's see. We have Hercules, great Disney movie. And we even have Hercules' buddy, Pegasus, right here. Now, yet another one some of you may have seen, because again, it became a movie. We have Perseus. And we're going to be listening to a little story right here about Orion. Yes. So, Orion actually lived with Artemis in the forests of Crete as a hunter and as her dearest friend. During the course of one hunt, he said he could kill any beast on earth. Well, Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, was so angered by this. After all, these were her beasts, and he boasted he could and would kill them. So she sent a giant scorpion, Scorpio, to kill Orion. The creature succeeded by stinging him in the heel of his foot. And after his death, Artemis asked Zeus, who was her father, to place Orion among the constellations so she may keep her friend close to her and may see him every night in the night sky. Zeus agreed, and as a memorial to the hero's death, he also added Scorpio, the scorpion, to the heavens as well, forever following the hunter in pursuit. So there we go. We have Orion right there. All right, so our next thing is going to be a little hands-on project, and we are going to make our own constellations. If you want to take a screenshot of this so you can make one of these, you are more than welcome to. Let me get my arrow out of the way. Otherwise, you can make one up and name it yourself. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we are going to make some constellations today. And I decided, since this is Harry Potter, I took the constellation Draco off of our constellation map, and I printed it out just so I could have something to reference. And I went ahead, and I know you're not going to be able to see this, but I kind of drew it very lightly in pencil on my piece of paper here. The next step is you're going to take a white crayon or a white oil pastel, either one. Yellow works fine too, and you're going to draw it. You're going to draw over whatever you trace in white. And it's going to be kind of hard to see because all right, now I know you can't see the difference as I throw it around here, but I've traced over everything with white. Really hard to see. Our next step to kind of make it look like more like a night constellation or our star map, we're going to use some watercolors. And I'm going to use a little bit of blue. And you're just going to go over literally. Is it picking up? Yeah, it's picking up nicely. Okay. All right, let's see. Hopefully you can see on camera. It's curling All right, so I have my dragon. Let me come up here and do it a little bit too. All right, so the harder you press to on your white, the more it's going to show. So you can see part of mine I pressed hard enough and the other part I did not. There we go. That's a good angle. All right, so whatever constellation you want to make, and if you want to make up one of your own, you can make a Gryffindor constellation and do that one. But I'd love to see them down in the comments below, your constellations. Thanks, and we'll see you at our next Harry Potter event.